You nervously waited in Kirishima's hero agency. Since you'd agreed to do the interview, you had to meet with his agent to discuss the contents of the interview and what will be expected of you. Pretty much they had to prepare you for it. You held a hand to your chest, trying to get your heart to stop pounding. One good thing that came out of this was that you had been hanging out with Kirishima a lot more. You would meet him sometimes to get something to eat together, and you guys would talk about nothing in particular for what felt like forever. You've been walking on cloud 9 for weeks now, and you didn't think you'll ever be coming down. Just thinking of him brought a smile to your face. You jumped when someone plopped themselves next to you, not being gentle at all.
So you're the one who's been taking up all of Shitty Hair's attention lately.
You looked up to meet glaring red eyes. Ground Zero. Crossing your arms and not bothering to make eye contact with him, you grumpily responded. What are you doing here? He apparently was Kirishima's best friend from his time at UA. You couldn't see how someone like him was friends with someone like Ground Zero. He was always so angry.
Huh? I can go wherever the hell I want. I have to sign some stuff for Shitty Hair's interview. They asked for a statement about his heroics at the fire from me after I refused to go.
You raised an eyebrow at him. Even though he refused to be interviewed, he was willing to give comments about his friend's achievements.
Oi! Why are you looking at me like that?
You would do that for him? He looked at you like you just slapped him with a dead fish.
Why the fuck wouldn't I? He's my friend. I'm fucking proud of him.
You could see a small blush forming under his mask. Oh, you're so cute! His face looked even more appalled than before. Now his face was bright red.
What part of me is fucking cute?
Oh, you're turning red. Are you embarrassed about being caught that you care about your friends? So cute! You teased and reached up to tap your finger against his nose. It's okay. I won't tell anyone that you're a big softie. He backed away from you, sputtering. Ground Zero glared at you, but it didn't bother you as much as before. He held up his hands, setting off small explosions.
Fucking shitty firefighter! I am not cute!
You covered your mouth as you began to laugh. He wasn't even denying that he cared about Kirishima. Maybe you judged him a bit too quickly. I see you guys are getting along now. Kirishima walked out of his agent's office, giving the both of you a broad smile. I was worried before.
We are not getting along.
So, are you ready for the interview next week, traveler? Kirishima ignored Ground Zero, who was pretty much yelling in frustration at this point. You smirked at Ground Zero, who was still fuming, before looking at Kirishima. A bit nervous, but I think I'll be okay. Kirishima reached out and patted your head, making your heart practically leap into your throat. Good. Didn't want to lose my interviewing buddy to nerves. I'm sure it's going to be a lot more fun with you there. You looked down, blushing from the sharp-toothed smile he gave you. Why was he so sweet and caring all the time? Oh, speaking of which, they're ready for you in there. You instantly shot up. Okay, I'll see you later. You practically ran into the office, but before you could close the door all the way, Kirishima grabbed onto it. His body was extremely close to yours, as he bent down to look at you. We can get lunch after you're done, okay? He shot you one of his stunning smiles that always had you melting. You couldn't help it, and just let the gentle smile spread across your face as you met his eyes. Sure, His smile widened as he let go of the door.
Cool. See you in a bit.
You gave him a small nod before closing the door behind you. Bakugo watched the entire interaction. He could see pink on his friend's cheeks as he stared at the closed door, a stupid smile on his face.
Idiots. What? What'd I do? Why are you making that face?
Kirishima looked back at him, confused. Bakugo just groaned as he slapped a hand to his forehead.
Because you're both idiots. Even I can see what's going on. What are you talking about? Fucking figure it out on your own damn time. It's pointless if I tell you. Fucking shitty hair.
Kirishima chuckled at you as you robotically tried to pose with him in front of the camera, fully dressed in your firefighter gear. They've been at this for 30 minutes now, but you still couldn't seem to relax and act natural. The interviewer tried talking to you, but the camera had you clamming up so much that all you could do was stutter. Kirishima just shook his head at you as he activated his quirk, so the cameraman would focus on him more than you for a minute.
Can jump off the top of buildings and face destructive, uncontrollable children with fire quirks. But you can't act normal in front of a camera.
I can't help it. Not into all this attention.
Kirishima reached out and tapped at the tinted visor over your face.
You are forgetting that they can't see your face. Just relax. Follow their lead.
He didn't need to see your face to know that you were pouting underneath the visor. He looked over at the woman who was in charge of interviewing the two of you and beckoned her over with a smile. Kirishima placed his hands on your shoulders and pushed you towards some set of chairs till you sat down.
How about you take a break and sit down? Chat for a bit and then we can try again. Yeah? Meanwhile, I'll be taking some of those cool, manly action shots.
Okay. You eased the helmet off and wiped the sweat away from your forehead. You were so skittish. Kirishima wondered how you would react if he started calling you Bunny and chuckled to himself. As he was posing and showing off some of his signature moves, he listened to you as you spoke with the journalist. While you sat down and tried to get comfortable, the woman smiled at you knowingly. This your first time being interviewed? All you could do was nod. Don't worry. Happens to all of us. Red Riot may be acting tough now, but I can assure you he was just as bad at his first interview. That made you giggle. Taking that as a positive sign, the interviewer went on. It really is an honor to finally have a chance to speak with you, heroic firefighter. Thank you for your service, by the way. You felt your face flush and ducked your head, mumbling. Thanks for your support. She then went on to recount what had happened at the fire that day. You really were quite brave. How did you manage to escape without being severely burned in the fire? From what I understand, you had taken your protective coat off. After a few moments of silence, you realized that you were supposed to answer. Thank you. I was just doing my best to help the boy out. I see kids like him all the time. Quirks that involve fire are one of the hardest quirks to learn how to control since fire is a very unpredictable element. My quirk makes me resistant to extreme environments, which means I'm pretty much fire and ice resistant. From what I understand, that is when you met Red Riot. What was it like working with him? I didn't know it was him at first. I thought it was just some idiot who had a death wish. When we discovered the children, I had no choice but to rely on him to take care of one of them while I handled the child who was having trouble with his newly activated quirk. Well, that must have been quite a bizarre interaction then. The journalist chuckled. Now that you've had the chance to get to know him a little, what do you think of Red Riot? What you see is pretty much what you get. He's as nice as he seems. He stays true to himself. After the fire, he sought me out to thank me and even brought me to see the family of the kids, who wished to thank me as well. He's really gone above and beyond any hero I've worked with before, but I'm really not surprised. He always seemed that way to me, you said with a shrug. Always? Sounds like you're a fan of the hero. Yeah, a little. Maybe for the past 4 or 5 years? Kirishima's head snapped around to look at you. Your hands were covering your face. 5 years. He'd still been in UA 5 years ago as a 3rd year. Your embarrassment was becoming infectious. His own face was now feeling very warm and exposed. There was a new gleam in the interviewer's eyes as she glanced between the two of you. And what did the chivalrous hero do to deserve such a faithful fan? I was walking home from school. I was in a firefighter training program for high schoolers at the time, and we'd done some intense training that day, so I was really tired. A villain with a strength-enhancing quirk was going on some kind of rampage. My muscles were so tired that I couldn't react fast enough. Everyone was running away as he was destroying things, but I was frozen in place. A car was thrown, and it was heading my way. I was so tense and scared. My legs locked up and I couldn't run. I pretty much expected myself to die at that moment. You glanced up at Kirishima as you twiddled your fingers in your lap, a smile pulling at your lips as you did. Turning back to the journalist, your smile widened and Kirishima found himself turning his body towards you. But out of nowhere, Red Riot came to my rescue. He covered me with his body. The car slammed into him and the force sent us both sliding down the street, but he remained standing, shielding me the entire time. He guided me to a street corner, made sure I wasn't hurt, and even made a joke to make me feel better. After that, he went to help Fat Gum take down the villain, and I've been a fan ever since.
Wait, we've met before?
Kirishima took large steps closer to you. He actually remembered that fight. He couldn't remember the face of the person he'd saved, but he did remember doing that during his internship. You looked down at your hands, face becoming redder. Yeah, technically we have. That's why I'm even more embarrassed that I didn't recognize you before. Kirishima sighed, crossing his arms. Man, he wished he could remember. He kind of wanted to know what you looked like in high school.
I'm embarrassed that I don't even recognize you, man. I remember that fight too.
You stood up and patted his shoulder. His skin tingled from the feeling of your skin on his. You save hundreds of people all the time. No one expects you to remember someone from that long ago. After that, my attention had always been drawn when I heard Red Riot on the news or when I saw some merch in the stores. Kirishima wiped his eyes of his manly tears.
Wow, I'm so happy, dude. You have no idea.
He couldn't help it. Kirishima wrapped his arms around you and lifted you in the air, spinning you around. What are you doing?
Thank you for all the support over the years.
Kirishima laughed as he continued to spin. Your leg was shaking as you waited on a text from Kirishima. The magazine was coming out today and you were on edge. Should you go to the store yourself and buy one? No, Kirishima said he would buy one and then the both of you would go out to celebrate and look together. You groaned into a pillow, trying to contain yourself. This wasn't helping.
That's it. I'm going for a run.
You opened your closet and pulled out some workout clothes. For the occasion, you put on your Red Riot spandex pants that had gear pattern designs with a matching outfit underneath a blank tank top. Wearing the sports clothing was your way of showing your support and hoping the magazine did well. An hour later, you were back at your apartment, sweaty and tired, but at least all that extra anxiety-filled energy was out of your system. You'd taken off your shoes and was downing your second water bottle when there was a knock at your door.
Traveler! Hey!
Your water was now all over the floor.
Kirishima?
What was he doing here? You checked your phone to see that there was no text message from him. You took a step towards the door to answer, but stopped when you realized what you were wearing. As fast as you possibly could, you tried to peel off the spandex pants, stumbling as you ran to your room.
Hey! I thought I'd surprise you. I got some takeout in the magazine. Figured we could just chill at your place instead of possibly getting swarmed by people because of the article.
You fell to the floor, tripping over yourself as you managed to get your pants off.
You want to eat here?
Images of your living room fully decked out with Red Riot figures, posters, your Red Riot themed clock, blanket, and even toys from fast food restaurants flashed in your mind. No way in hell. You quickly got up and started grabbing everything off of their shelves.
Oh, I'm sorry, my sweet babies, but I can't have the real thing see you.
You whispered to your figures as you placed them in a pile on the blanket.
Was that a bad idea? I mean, I kind of invited myself to your place, so I guess that was kind of rude.
Oh, your heart. The dejected tone in his voice made you work faster. You wrapped everything in the blanket and pushed it in the closet before grabbing things off the walls and hiding them away as well. The door barely closed over everything, and it took your entire body weight to get it shut.
No, it's just, give me a minute. My place is a disaster.
You sighed with relief as you heard the door click, locking everything away. Good. Now you won't look like a total creep who hoarded Red Riot merch. Rushing to the door, you opened it, and Kirishima smiled at you as he held up the magazine and a plastic bag full of food.
Hey! Hope you like it! Why aren't you wearing any pants?
Kirishima's face instantly matched his hair, and he covered his eyes in the crook of his arm.
Oh, fuck!
You realized that you had never put on new pants in your rush. Stretching out the bottom of your tank top, you pulled it down to try and cover yourself.
I'll be right back!
You ran back to your bedroom, smacking yourself on the forehead. How the hell were you ever going to live this down? You debated about whether or not it's too late to jump out of the window as you pulled on jeans. You looked in the hall to see that your closet door had burst open, and everything was now laid out on the floor.
Are you okay?
Kirishima came running in, his face still red as his eyes looked down at the floor to see the pile of Red Riot merch everywhere.
I can explain.
You slid across the floor and tried to shove everything back in the closet. You couldn't explain shit. You couldn't even look at him.
Is that all my hero merch?
You bit your lower lip.
Is that a Red Riot banner over your bed?
Fuck. You'd left the bedroom door open too.
No?
He snorted at you as you lied to his face.
Okay, maybe. Just kill me now.
To your surprise, Kirishima bent down and grabbed one of the small figures.
Or I can help you put everything back, and we eat the food I brought while we look through the article together? Little Red Riot #1 fan.
Great. Now he was teasing you. You sighed in defeat and gave him a small nod. Once everything was put back, you heard Kirishima mutter to himself.
Now I know how All Might felt when he saw Midoriya's room for the first time. Nothing. Let's look at the magazine now.
The two of you sat together as you ate, the magazine spread out between you. They had done a 12-page spread on Kirishima, showing him in some designer clothes and then his hero costume. The interview had a lot of information about Kirishima you hadn't known, like his experiences at UA, heroes he considered friends, hobbies, etc. Wow, they really went in depth with these questions. I feel like I'm learning a lot about you without even talking to you. It's so weird.
Most of this was already available online. You never looked any of this up before?
You shook your head.
I always found that creepy, knowing personal things about people you don't even know.
Though I'm one to talk, every time I walked by a store and I saw your hero name, I couldn't resist. Kirishima sighed as he rested his head on a perched hand, sounding relieved.
At least you're not like Midoriya in that sense.
Midoriya?
It's nothing. Hey look, here's your part.
Kirishima turned the page and pointed at the picture of you in your firefighter gear, holding an axe in your hand alongside Kirishima with his quirk activated on his arms in his typical hero pose.
The pictures came out great, huh?
Yeah, they did.
On the next page, you saw Kirishima hugging someone whose face was blurred but was obviously in a firefighter costume. The part when you talked about being a fan of Red Riot and Kirishima being surprised was included beside the picture.
Kirishima? I don't remember that being part of the shoot.
You looked up to see that his face was bright red as he stared at the picture intently.
I can't believe the amount of attention you've been getting.
Ami poured some more ice into the bathtub. You sighed. Neither could you. Ever since the magazine had come out with that one picture, reporters had started storming the fire station. Despite the fact that your face had been blurred, anyone who knew you were able to figure it out, and your name had been leaked. So now you were basically a celebrity, and it was just perfect. Usually you would have an ice bath ready for you on site if you were going to be using your quirk, but with so many people around taking pictures, that wasn't the best idea. People had become too much. You'd been contacted by hero agencies after they'd found out about your track record. News teams tried to sneak into the firehouse all the time now, just to get a glimpse of you. As far as you were concerned, the only good thing that had come out of this was a sudden skyrocket in applications for firefighters or police officers. Not as much as heroes, but still. You sighed as you took a step into the bath, steam sizzling off your skin as you did.
Oh, that's perfect.
With only your fireproof spandex shorts and underwear on, you sunk into the ice water. The coolness felt great as you dunked your entire body underwater. You emerged to see Ami sitting on the edge of the tub, amused.
Thanks, Ami.
You slicked your hair back as you relaxed, resting your head on the edge.
No problem. Also, I brought you the waterproof headphones from your bag. I'll set the music on your phone to your favorite playlist before I go.
She dangled a pair of Bluetooth headphones on her finger, the two earbuds connected by the wires swinging back and forth in front of you. You groaned with happiness.
All hail the beautiful goddess that is Ami.
You took the headphones and placed them in your ears. You waved Ami goodbye as you leaned back and relaxed, forgetting about all the pests waiting outside. With the help of music, you were soon fast asleep. Kirishima snuck into the firehouse, avoiding all the reporters that were waiting for you to come out. He felt really bad that your name had been leaked, and the fact that they'd put a picture of you in the magazine after specifically asking them not to. Apparently, there was a mix-up with the pictures and no one seemed to notice, which he was calling bullshit on considering they blurred out your face. Still, it was his fault that you were in this mess.
Hey, Chief! Ami?
Kirishima waved as he jogged over to the two firefighters, who were loading up supplies into the fire engine.
Hey, big guy.
Ami clung onto Kirishima's arm, feeling his muscles with no shame.
Here to see Traveler?
Kirishima chuckled at her friendliness.
Yeah, I was wondering if they wanted to go on a camping trip. My bro and I go to this spot in the mountains every year during winter. I thought that would be a good chance to get away from everyone. Things should die down by the time we get back.
He figured it would also be best to run this trip by your father before he took you camping in the woods alone with two men. The chief paused, thinking about it, and then nodded as he continued what he was doing.
You know, that isn't a bad idea. Traveler hasn't used any vacation time since they got here. This would actually be a good time to use some of the extra days they have. I know the reporters have been really getting to them lately.
Traveler? Going on vacation? I thought I'd never see the day.
Ami shook her head as she picked up a fire extinguisher. Chief nodded.
I know, right? I thought you would actually find someone foolish enough to marry you before they took a non-mandatory day off.
Chief, that hurts me. Really deep. It's true, but it still hurts.
Ami pretended to wipe away a tear before giggling.
So, I'm guessing you couldn't get a hold of them on their phone and figured you would come here and ask them in person?
Kirishima nodded. He had been trying to call, but there had been no reply. He figured it would be better to meet you here.
They're in the back. We got back from a fire a few hours ago. They should be completely cooled down by now, so it should be fine. Just go down the hall and enter the shower room. They're in the big tub full of ice. Can't miss it.
Got it. Thanks.
Kirishima gave them a thumbs up before jogging to the back. He hesitantly knocked on the door to the shower room.
Traveler? It's me. Can I come in?
There was no answer. He shrugged and entered the room, only to nearly fall back in shock. There you were, laying in the tub completely blue.
Oh my god, Traveler!
His body moved on its own. He ran over to you and yanked your body out of the freezing water. Your skin was practically grey and ice cold. Even more surprising, your eyes shot open.
What the hell? Kirishima? What are you doing? Put me down!
You flailed in his arms and he instinctively let you go. He stepped back as you fell, and also slipped on the water, falling onto the floor, panicking. Kirishima watched as you groaned in pain, rubbing your back.
Are you a zombie?
What? No! Do I look like one?
You glared at him as you stood on your feet.
Yeah!
He gestured down to your body, and your angry expression changed to one of understanding. You held out your hand to him. He hesitantly took it.
Kirishima, you do remember my quirk, yeah? My body temp just got too low from being in the bath too long, and this is what happens. My skin has a similar structure to a seal right now, trying to conserve warmth so my body doesn't shut down. Feel!
You held out your arm to him, similar to how he did to you when you first met. He swallowed nervously, thinking about all the horror movies he had seen up until now. Slowly, his fingers pressed into your cool flesh. It reminded him of when he shook hands with Gang Orca. Braver now, both his hands now fully engulfed your arm, massaging it and trying to get your temperature back up. He could feel a pulse and instantly felt relieved.
Thank God you're not dead.
You used your free hand to cover your mouth while you laughed.
Yeah, but you dropping me on my ass while you scream like a little girl didn't help.
As cute as your laugh was, he wasn't very appreciative of you teasing him like that and pouted.
Hey, that's mean. I was really scared, and for the record, I didn't scream like a little girl. I screamed like a manly little girl.
You snorted and laughed even harder. You said you didn't like your laugh, but Kirishima really liked it. Right now it was heavenly to hear at the moment. It meant you were alive. He pulled you into a big bear hug, hoping his body could help warm you up.
Don't give me a heart attack like that ever again.
He felt you relax into his arms, your own wrapping around him as you did. You didn't say anything, only hummed in agreement. Kirishima held you tighter against him and became giddy as you buried your face in the crook of his neck. It was nice holding you, noticing how truly small you were compared to him. He ran his fingers through your damp hair and you sighed, your breath against his neck sending a shiver down his spine. You smelled of lavender and aloe, a hint of smoke still lingering in your hair. He wondered how you could be so soft after running through so many fires.
Ahem.
His fingers froze when he heard someone clear their throat. Ami was standing in front of him, leaning against the door frame with an eyebrow raised. At that moment, he realized that he'd been caught holding you while you were wet, in underwear and shorts. And he was smelling you with his eyes closed. His arms immediately went high up in the air and backed away from you as fast as he could. You gave him a confused look until you turned around.
Oh, hi, Ami.
Ami chuckled but kept her eyes locked on Kirishima. Shit.
Hi, traveler. The chief, your dad, scared off all the paparazzi by threatening them with a hose. You should go change and head home.
You gave her a tired nod, and then looked towards Kirishima.
Wait for me?
That small smile you gave him had him melting. You could ask him anything and he'd probably do it. You left the room, skin already returning to normal. Thank God.
So...
Ami gave him a smug smirk. He knew that look. Kaminari gave him that look all the time when Mina would use him as a pillow.
Nothing happened!
Uh-huh. By the way, I like that shade of red.
Kirishima reached up at his hair. He had been using the same dye since high school, so it shouldn't be any different. Ami laughed as she stepped out. She tapped her cheek.
I wasn't talking about your hair, bro.
Kirishima was so tempted to dunk his head in the ice bath.
Kirishima, I feel like you walk me home every time we meet.
You bumped your hip against the chivalrous hero as the two of you walked down the street.
You do know you don't have to act like a hero all the time, right?
You giggled as he sheepishly rubbed the back of his neck.
After everything I put you through, it's the least I can do. Don't want to be chased by the media again without backup, do you?
He had a point, and you hummed in agreement. It was finally nearing the end of winter. Looking up, you could see the sky. Even a few stars could be seen.
At least I won't have to worry for a while now.
What with being put on mandatory vacation till things settle down.
I'll finally have time to go through all the mail I got from people.
Though if I see one more person say I would make a great hero, I'm gonna burn them. Kirishima chuckled as he held the door to your apartment building open for you. Here already?
Hey, if you do decide to become a hero, Fat Gum says he called dibs first.
You puffed out your cheeks, pouting.
Of course he did. I'm still getting letters from hero agencies too. Hawks' agency even sent me a fruits basket. Not even fancy fruits can sway me.
Your bag was full of letters that had been sent to the station, all addressed to the heroic firefighter. Before this, you actually liked being called that, especially when Kirishima would do it teasingly. But now, not so much. How much would it cost to change your identity? A shiver went up your spine as you felt a sudden weight on your shoulders. Kirishima had rested his arm around you as the two of you stepped into the elevator.
Not even the idea of working alongside your favorite pro hero will convince you?
Looking up at him, you saw that he had a smug look on his stupidly cute face, wiggling his eyebrows at you. You turned away, huffing, trying to act like you weren't screaming on the inside at him hugging you. Again.
Who?
I'm not sure who you are talking about. Was it possible to bite your lip off from nerves? Because you were feeling pretty close to doing just that as he squeezed your shoulder.
Don't even try to play innocent. Little I have limited edition Red Riot figures.
Don't use my babies against me. Rude.
Kirishima leaned forward, his face at the same level as yours now, and pointed at himself. What's with him in your personal bubble today?
Those babies are me. Am I your baby too?
What? No! Thank God for the elevator and its doors opening just in time for you to push him off and sprint down the hall to your door.
I'm kidding! Don't leave me!
Kirishima laughed behind you, easily keeping up with a light jog. Curse his hero-ready body and his finely toned, bulging muscles. You unlocked your front door, but before you could open it, a hand rested on top of yours.
Hey, I wanted to talk to you.
Insert internal screaming.
Yeah?
Kirishima gnawed on his lower lip for a moment, turning away from you as he spoke.
So, you see, Bakugo, Ground Zero, and we've had this tradition since UA. So, like, a lot of crap happened to us during our first year, so during winter and summer break we go camping. No phones, no telling anyone where we are going, so no reporters can hound us. Just us in the woods for a week.
Oh, so you're leaving for a bit?
Did you sound really sad? Get it together. Don't act like a lovesick, kicked puppy. Yeah. Kirishima cleared his throat a few times before turning to you finally. You stood up straighter as his eyes rested on you. Do you want to come with me? I mean us? Do you want to come with us? Blinking a few times, your brain slowly processed what he was saying. Did he just invite you to go on a trip with him and his explosive best friend? You? Of all people? Little old fan... you? You opened and closed your mouth a few times as you tried to form words that just wouldn't come out. Finally, the silence was cut. Not by your voice, but by the sounds of a gurgling stomach. Kirishima cursed under his breath, his hand slapping the cause of the sound.
Did you eat dinner?
You couldn't help but snort at the weird timing, and the blush steadily rising on the redhead's face. No. I kinda went straight to your station after work. You grabbed the flustered hero's arm. Oh god, his quirk wasn't even activated. Why was it so hard? Shut up. And pulled him into your apartment.
Come on, I have some leftovers we can eat together.
Trying to calm the pounding in your chest, you focused on pulling out food from the fridge and placing it on 2 plates. Would it be okay to go on their trip? Ground Zero didn't seem too bad when you last met him, but that was under different circumstances. Would he be okay with you being there? He seemed really close with Kirishima. You were sure he would like to spend some time with his friends since they worked at different agencies. Taking a deep breath, you turned to Red Riot. You don't think Ground Zero would be upset about me invading on your guys' trip? Kirishima was standing awkwardly at the edge of the kitchen and jumped when you started talking to him again. His arms waved in the air as he shook his head. No, he's okay with it. Definitely. It would be a lot of fun to have you. We can show you all the cool stuff we found over the years. If Kirishima said he was okay with it, it could be fun, especially with Kirishima. Everything that involved him was always fun.
Okay, I'll go.
Really? He took 2 large steps towards you and grabbed your shoulders excitedly. Too close. He'd been too close all night. This was really bad for your heart. You could see the creases in his face as he smiled at you. The small faded scar above his eye was barely noticeable, and his eyes were practically sparkling. As fast as he came, he took a few steps back and cleared his throat. I mean, yeah, cool. I'll let Bakugo know. The 2 of you smiled at each other. Yeah, this'll be fun. With the food warm, you motioned to your couch, not even ashamed that your Red Riot blanket was on full display.
Wanna watch a movie?